lightning round on why I think this is a must-have printer. 1, it's affordable. 2, it's reliable. 3, it has a huge user base and is very well documented. 4, it has easy to find replacement parts and upgrades.
Are you ready?
Hey everybody, it's Garrett from No One's Designs, and thank you for coming back out to the Friend Shop. Today I'm showing off one of the newest tools that I have and something that I've fallen absolutely in love with. This is my Monoprice Mini Select 3D printer. Now, I have had a 3D printer in my shop for a while now. It was a hacked and modded CubeX, and it was kind of a nightmare to use. I had problems with software, problems with hardware, so I really hadn't been using 3D printing in my workflow very often. I decided that towards the end of this year, that's something that I needed to rectify, something that I needed to kind of change, because 3D printing is becoming such a useful tool in cosplay and prop building. After doing some research and looking around, I stumbled upon this. Now, the Monoprice Mini Select is kind of a small printer, but what you get for the price is pretty amazing. Now, this guy prints in about a 5" by 5" cube. I think it's technically 4.7 or 4.75 inches. But when you work the way that I do, that's not going to be much of a problem. See, I don't want to 3D print a whole set of armor. That's just not my workflow. That's kind of not how I want to build. But what I do want to do is be able to create small, intricate pieces and medium-sized pieces and have those things be very exact. And that is what this guy can do. Now, it is a filament-based, your basic 3D printer uses PLA, but it also comes with a heated print bed. Now, to give you an idea of why I'm so amazed by this, is that this retails for $220. Most kits don't even come close to that price point. And this, well, here, just let me show you the process of assembling it. That's right. All you do is put this little arm on here, and it's ready to go out of the box. I have never had a simpler setup been shown to me or experienced with 3D printing. The set of stuff comes with a micro SD card, and it comes with its own little test thing, this little cat here that we printed. Now, this cat was printed with the stock settings and on the printer with no alterations, just straight out of the box. And you can kind of see that that's pretty good. That's pretty good for $220. And if you're okay with that level of quality, you can just leave the stock settings. The micro SD card comes with an installation of Cura, which is an open source slicing program. And there is an option in there to upload the parameters from G-code, which is the file format that this uses, or almost all 3D printers use, to make their objects. So you can just import the settings from this cat and you are ready to go. But if you want to start tinkering, you can actually get some amazing performance out of this. This has a really, really robust users group and has been subject to teardown and rebuild videos and reviews all over the internet. But there is a wiki for it that I will have linked in the bottom. And that has most of the reviews, all of the upgrades, places to buy replacement parts. It is just a wealth of information. And on there, you can find info about just how this thing is put together. And one of the unique things about this 3D printer is the Z-axis, which is the part of the printer that goes up and down. They used a very non-standard threaded rod for this, which if you mess with the settings, allows it to print at a higher resolution than it is advertised at. This is advertised at printing at 100 microns. But if you go and look at the specifications and what people have actually torn down, it can get down to about 43 microns. That's pretty darn accurate. Now, this is the version 1. And the reason why I got the version 1 is because they had refurbished units on Monoprice's website. So even though this MSRP is for $220, I actually picked this up for $160 with free next day shipping. I will have a link to that also. I don't know how many there are going to be. I don't know how much stock Monoprice has. So if you can't get that, I would suggest going with the version 2 off of Amazon, which I will also have a link. The version 2 upgrades a few things. It adds a case fan. It adds a more industry standard hot end. And I think it changes this knob. This knob's a little shallow and some people don't like it. I don't have a problem with it, but that's what you get for the version 2. Now, all of this said and done, you can still print some pretty cool stuff on that small print bed. This is K's Blaster from Blade Runner. I just found the file on My Mini Factory. I'll have that linked below. And I actually only had to split up a few pieces to get this to print on my bed. I use, what's it called? Mesh Mixer to do any of my splitting. And honestly, the only thing you have to watch when you're doing that is to make sure that you don't split anywhere where there's high detail. One of my first prints I did on this, I actually split the piece in the middle of this little grid work detail. And I realized that when I was going to seam it together, that I would lose most of that kind of recessed detail right there. So I went back and I moved the split point farther down to where it would be easier to seam. Now, you might be saying, yeah, but it's still a really small bed. And you're right. But there are upgrades. Now, this thing prints perfectly right out of the box, which is why I kind of suggest it to anybody. If you have never 3D printed before and you're wanting a low-cost, low learning curve entry into 3D printing, I haven't seen a better printer than this. Most of the other printers in this price range are kits that you'll have to assemble. Also, most of the other printers in this price range have plastic or acrylic frame pieces, where this is all metal. So those are two pretty big advantages. If you have been 3D printing and you have 3D printers for $220, or if you can find it refurbished at $160, or if you're adventurous, you can get them on eBay used for like $130. It's really hard to not justify picking up a second printer just so you can speed up the process of making projects. For those that also want to get a little more technical, this does come with a heated print bed, which means that you can set it up to print ABS or PETG or some of the more exotic filaments. There also are adapter files, so you can put an industry standard hot end if you get the version 1. That's what I have right here. And it's just a simple little switch out for that. But there really isn't a drawback to it. And like I said, if you're really worried about that small print bed, there are expansion kits. In fact, I've bought a second one of these already, and a bed extender. So one of my videos coming up after this is going to be the replacement of the hot end and a addition of a larger print bed onto one of these Monoprice Minis. I hope that you like this video, and honestly, if you're looking for a holiday present, birthday present, anything for you or a prop maker or builder in your family, I really can't, I really can't push this thing enough. This thing is pretty phenomenal. Now, I would say that you will want to buy a few extra pieces. Get a little bag of replacement nozzles. I think it's like $6 for 5 of them. So if you have a clog, you can just replace that fairly quickly. Clog nozzles are something that just happen in 3D printers. It just happens. And also, keep an eye out for the power bricks. Now, they use a brick on a leash power system. There have been reports of these going out on people's printers after maybe a week or two or a couple of months. They're a cheap replacement. Technically, you can get them replaced under your warranty, but that involves sending the entire unit back. So if you don't want to mess with that, there's a link below that you can just bookmark for getting a replacement power supply. I hope that I've run through most of the good points about this machine. If you have any questions, please leave them below. And like and subscribe to this channel. Kind of share it with your friends. I will be back doing the retrofit and upgrade of my second unit here in the next week or two. So stay tuned for that. And like, follow, and subscribe to all of the No One's Designs content around the internet. Thanks again, and I hope to see you soon.